Thank you, Chairman Newhouse, Ranking Member Salinas, and members of the committee. My name is Tracey Glover. I'm the sheriff in Kane County, Utah, the president of the Utah Sheriff's Association, as well as the president of the Western States Sheriff's Association, who I represent here today. Our association of Western States covers 19 Western states and over 1,100 sheriffs. As you know, the U.S. Forest Service manages about 200 million acres of land and national forests that are truly a national treasure. These lands deserve resource protection and sound management. America's sheriffs invest time and treasure every day to support that national forest management. There is ample evidence that sheriffs are all in as viable partners in this important work. We have great respect for the U.S. Forest Service law enforcement officers that we work alongside every single day in the field, and we commend them for their work. At the management level, however, our relationship is fracturing. I'm here today to ask Congress through this committee to help sheriffs move forward and recover these relationships, returning to a level of mutual respect. I want to touch on three quick things to that point. First, criminal jurisdiction and police power. In our country, states and therefore local subdivisions hold the authority to police the people. While sometimes confusing, criminal legislative jurisdiction is reserved to state and local governments. As the only elected law enforcement branch within any form of government, sheriffs are often in the position of holding the line on these matters. While we appreciate the interest of limited federal law enforcement jurisdiction by Congress, agencies within the executive branch have generally pushed back and with some success passed rules and regulations that are sort of a workaround to the principles of limited jurisdiction. We are here today to ask this committee to work with sheriffs to arrive at a solution to one such issue, the Criminal Prohibitions Rule. A little bit of background: in 2011, the Forest Service law enforcement folks reached out to our association with their intent to institute this Criminal Prohibitions Rule. It would dramatically increase the stance of federal law enforcement and their authority on federal national forests. After some difficult discussions, negotiations, and meetings, we pushed back, and the idea was shelved. Fast forward in 2024, a slightly watered down version of the rule was put forward and on the Federal Register. This time, sheriffs were not given any significant notice. Our association and others participated by providing public comment on the Federal Register, and while the rule disproportionately affects sheriffs, we were not afforded any appropriate level of coordination. After providing public comment, asking for specific changes to be made, the final rule was adopted and published on December 26th of 2024 with no significant modifications. At that time, we met with the U.S. Forest Service administrators, who appear, at least so far, to not have any interest in modifying the rule. A CRA was filed by Congresswoman Celeste Malloy, but with the difficult timing of a government shutdown, it ended up timing out without action. Representative Malloy then filed H.R. 6802 in this Congress, which is active and I believe assigned to this committee, and would simply require that the Criminal Prohibitions Rule would not have any force or effect. The primary reason I'm here today on behalf of American sheriffs is to ask this committee to advance H.R. 6802 as a priority bill, help sheriffs hold an important baseline of local jurisdiction, and find a better path forward. We are committed to working together with the agency to come to a more appropriate solution if we get the chance. Shifting gears, I want to touch just briefly on a different program called the Cooperative Law Enforcement Agreement Program. As many of you know, sheriffs across the country provide law enforcement services on our national forests under cooperative law enforcement agreements. A little context: in 1985, the program was funded at about $7.5 million nationwide, and in 1993, that amount dropped to $5 million. Today, roughly 41 years later, the funding remains at $5 million. During that time frame, you can imagine sheriffs have dealt with marked cost increases in our operations. For example, I looked at the Social Security Cost of Living Index, and cost of living adjustments have increased by 138% in that same time frame. The cost of a Ford F-150 truck in 1985 was about $15,000. Today it's about $70,000 to get it fully equipped. With U.S. Forest Service staffing shortages and special assignments, fire details, et cetera, sheriffs are being asked to do more and more on national forests, which we embrace to a degree. We respectfully ask that this committee review the program and bring it up to a 2026 funding standard. And with that, I appreciate your time and I look forward to answering any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Sheriff. Mr. Joseph, you may begin when you are ready.
Chairman Newhouse, Ranking Member Salinas, members of the committee, good morning, and thank you for this opportunity. My name is Travis Joseph. I'm the President and CEO of the American Forest Resource Council. We have the privilege of representing the forest products sector, many of the mills, the loggers, the truck drivers, the contractors, and the supply chains that actively manage and steward our national forests that belong to all Americans. We are critical partners of the Forest Service, and we have been since the agency's founding 120 years ago. We want to be partners to help manage national forests for another 120 years. Our members buy federal timber on the most regulated lands on planet Earth, our national forests. We harvest using the best science and the most advanced forest practices in the world. We bring federal timber to local mills, and we make all kinds of wood products that are essential to society, from housing and construction to paper and packaging to medicine and food and renewable energy and fuel. That's just the start. We do so much more. Our members grow and plant millions of seedlings on private and federal lands. We do wildfire detection and suppression. We do wildfire prevention work. We do fish and wildlife habitat restoration work, trail and construction, road repair and maintenance. Across this country, the forest product sector employs tens of thousands of certified foresters, engineers, scientists, welders, mechanics, heavy equipment operators, IT professionals, accountants, lawyers, and drone pilots, just to name a few. We care deeply about our health and the resiliency of our national forests. The plight of our communities and our businesses are intertwined with the plight of our federal forests. It's where we hike, it's where we camp, it's where we hunt, it's where we fish, it's where we work. And as those who work in and near our national forests every day, we can tell you that the scale of our federal forest and health crisis is staggering. It's now estimated that between 80 and 100 million acres of national forests are at high risk of catastrophic wildfire, disease, and insect infestations. We stand at a critical moment. The status quo is not working, and it's putting these public forests and all their invaluable benefits to society at risk. It's a threat to countless rural communities, to public health, to public safety, to our neighbors, and to our businesses. We can and we must solve this, and we can together. The forest products industry, states, counties, tribes, and other partners, we have the expertise, we have the capacity, we have the infrastructure, we have the people, we have the will. We're problem solvers, we share common interests, managing our national forests and taking care of our communities. We have two pictures in front of you